Hey everybody, movie review next door here. Been a while since I've done a movie review, but I'm back again watching a movie that's been on my backlog for a little bit, and that is Violent Night. Oh, sorry about that. This is an action comedy Christmas film from 2022, directed by Tommy Wirkola, and it stars David Harbour, John Leguizamo, Alex Hassel, Alexis Louder, Beverly D'Angelo, Cam Gigandet, and Cam Gigandet. There you go. In this film, when a team of mercenaries breaks into a wealthy family compound on Christmas Eve, taking everyone inside hostage, the team isn't prepared for a surprise combatant. Santa Claus is on the grounds, and he's about to show why this Nick is no saint. Now, what did I think of Violent Night? Well, I was looking forward to this one. I didn't know too much about like the making of it other than it's from 87 North, who has they produced Bullet Train, Nobody, Violent Night, Kate, which Nobody and Kate I loved. I really did. I actually enjoy Nobody more than the first two John Wick films. I'm kind of undecided on if I like it more than the third. They're kind of tied for me. But Kate was a lot of fun for sure. And I think a lot of people just bit of snobs about it. But this film, it's a lot of fun. I'm not going to say it's perfect. It's not. It's a 9 out of 10 for me, which means I really, really, really enjoy it. There's just a couple small things that I wasn't huge on, or that kind of stuck out to me, and it's kind of hard to say that they're outright flaws, but it did kind of stick out, and I wonder if the budget might have been a part of it. But let me get to the cast. David Harbour as Santa. I will admit, I was not ha- super happy to see him playing Santa, given how he did Hellboy, and Hellboy will always be Ron Perlman forever. But I think he did a good job here. He didn't royally screw up the role or excuse me or anything. He, for the most part, played a very enjoyable version of Santa. That's kind of an unhinged, like drunk who is kind of like, losing the Christmas cheer because so many people don't actually believe in him. And you've seen this kind of story done before. But he did a good job. He did a good job in the fight scenes. It was really nice to see David Harbour in that type of role. And yeah, I liked him. John Leguizamo plays Scrooge. Um, and he's our main villain of the film. And I haven't seen John Leguizamo play a lot of villains, like main villains, but he does a good job here. Even if he is a bit mustache twirling, but I think that's mostly the point. Um, Alex Hassel is Jason. He is the father of, I think her name's Trudy. This movie can't figure out who the main character is, and I'll get to that. But he was fine. Alexis Louder was Linda. She was fine. She was his wife. Beverly D'Angelo is Gertrude. She's the grandmother or the mother. She's kind of a bitch. It's a perfect role for Beverly D'Angelo, and she's really good at it. She gets a couple fun moments. And Cam Gigandet as Morgan Steele. He's kind of an action star that's like married to the other sister of the family, and yeah, perfect casting. Cam Gigandet always did kind of come off like a pompous douche, so it was nice to see him kind of poking fun at his own image. And uh, special mention to Brendan Fletcher as Krampus. He's just one of the uh, henchmen. Excuse me. I really do like Brendan Fletcher a lot. I love seeing him in films. He was in Night Hunter as the villain, and I thought he did a pretty good job there for the most part. He was in Braven for a little bit. He was in the Final Cut. He was in Rampage, Dangerous. He's an actor that pops up in a lot of films that I really like, and I've always liked him. I've always thought Hollywood really didn't give him much of a chance, and it's interesting to see that Uwe Boll clearly did. But yeah, um, with this film, this is one of those films that, of course, because people love to compare things to everything, they're gonna say it's a Christmas version of John Wick. It is not. It is not even really the same type of filming of action as John Wick, where it kind of is shot action wise. It is shot like kind of your normal typical mid-budget action movie. And the thing I said in my review about John Wick, where I said, yes, I do really get what the film was going for. I do like it. I don't love it as much as everyone else. And I said I gave that film that high of a rating because I like what it's doing for its budget. It wasn't trying to just be another like action movie that just had a tiny bit of action and people love it because it's well shot. But like John Wick tried to you know, mix it up a bit. And I think the second one failed on that for the most part, and then the third one brought it back tenfold because the third one is my favorite so far. And with this film, it's not so much like John Wick. It kind of has more of the style of Nobody, i- if I have to compare. I still love Nobody more than this, and I'll get to one of the main reasons why is pacing. This film isn't terribly paced, but it is an hour and 52 minutes. Now, that shouldn't be a big issue for most people, but for me, I do find it a bit of an issue and it's not like the pacing ruins this film, far from it. I still really like the film. But there are certain scenes that I feel like you could either just edit out, you could either edit them out completely from the film, or you could maybe find a way to condense them a bit, make them a bit snappier, because a lot of the jokes in this film, like, I do like the humor that this film is going for the most part. I laughed quite a few times. But it is one of those films where some of the jokes just go on a bit too long, and if you cut them and made them flow a bit better, it would definitely like bump up the film a bit. Um, and there's a thing this film does with characters where you start the film out with David Harbour as Santa, and then for a while you're just being introduced to the main people who will be like taken hostage in this house, and Santa just like disappears for like a whole like 10 minutes. And this happens often. I don't know if it was an issue with paying, like if like like some of the main characters just disappear from the film for like big chunks at times, and again, I don't know if it's just like they couldn't film at certain times or they had to like because it's not like this is during the pandemic or anything. It wasn't. So I'm really confused on why it feels this way, if that makes any sense. Yeah, because yeah, you'll get like big stretches of the film that focus on the villains. You'll get big stretches of the film that focus on Santa, big stretches of the film that focus on the family. And the family kind of just disappears for a good like 30 minutes at one point. And I was like, "Wait, did they just leave the film?" So that I will say that was a weird thing and it did kind of feel a bit disjointed in those moments. Um But yeah, other than those things, like I do think the film is very well made. It is definitely I don't know if I'd say it's stretching its budget. The budget was $20 million, which is about the same budget as the first John Wick. The first John Wick was apparently like 20 to 30 million budget. So, um this film definitely uses its small setting to its advantage. It tries to switch it up with a lot of the action scenes. There's like bits where they use traps, kind of like Home Alone. but more realistic. Um, and there's some very entertaining moments of action, the kills. There's some really insane kills here, which are cool. Somebody gets dragged up through a chimney and they come out the top and like their heads popped, their limbs are off, and their like stump of a body is just like bleeding. It's very I was not expecting this film to be as violent as it was, and I know it's called Violent Night, but it was nice to see a film like this that was kind of about like Christmas and all that that was re- bleh, refreshingly violent. I'm sorry guys, I've had a rough day. Um but yeah, like it was cool to see that for sure. A lot of really good practical effects in this film, which I always love to see. Um there might have been a practical explosion at one point. I can't remember. Um looked good though. But yeah, it seems like these guys at this company or this production company, the films that come from this production company seem to know how to use budget because Nobody was another film from this company, cost $15 million, and I'd say they do more with their budget than this film does with its budget. But like for the most part in Nobody, I just had a blast. It was very fast paced. Like you got the initial setup and then like it was just smooth sailing from then on. Nonstop excitement. Maybe not exactly nonstop action. There's a lot of action in Nobody, but nonstop excitement, like you're either getting good comedy or you're getting good action or you're just getting like this really nice experience of a film. And here you're getting a lot of the same. And yeah, the again, having to do with the pacing thing. The first 20 minutes of this movie is set up. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I am saying that some of it could have been tightened up or taken out because some of it just does not become plot relevant later. It doesn't really feed into anything. There's a bit where there are certain bits where the camera focuses on certain things as if they're going to come back into play later, and they really don't. And I did pay attention to that. I was like, oh, why is there a weird close up of the cookie he put in his pocket? And it doesn't really come into play. So I don't know what that was. If anybody knows, please let me know. Um, but yeah, like again, it's a film that definitely I can see, well, not a family, but I can see people like adults enjoying this film like during Christmas if they want like kind of a more rough and violent movie because there's always been the debate, is Die Hard a Christmas action movie? Is Lethal Weapon a Christmas action movie? They just take place at Christmas. They don't really have to do with the Christmas cheer. And there's other films that I haven't seen that are literally supposed to be Christmas action movies, like Rare Exports, I think is one of them. Um, I would say Long Kiss Goodnight is one, and that's one of my favorite films. Um, so always open to watch that again. But yeah, I don't know what much else I'll have to say about this. Um, there's definitely a lot of really great ingredients here. Again, like the fight scenes and the action scenes are all really well shot, really well directed, well done. I saw David Leitch produced this or part co-produced this, so I don't know if he had to do with the stunts, but if he did, great job with the stunts, dude. Or stunt direction. Um, but yeah, uh, it's a fun movie. I definitely recommend it to people. I watched it on Amazon Prime, so I guess you could see it there. There's probably a cheaper Blu-ray by now. But yeah, I'll get to the pros and cons. Pros, again, the acting across the board, the acting was pretty good, I will say. Um, the action again is very well done, very bloody, very practical a lot of the time. Um, the score by Dominic Lewis is really well done, and I think I know exactly what he was going for. He was going for the style of music that was in those Rankin Bass like stop motion animated um like for like Christmas TV specials, like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, The Year Without Santa Claus, Little Drummer Boy, um Sa- Santa Claus is Coming to Town, stuff like that. Um, I feel like that's exactly what he was going for here, and he does a great job. I've liked his scores on other films as well. If I can find his name here, there you go. Yeah, he also did the score to Jolt, uh, Money Monster, Spooks the Greater Good had a really good soundtrack too. But yeah, like I do really like this guy's work. He's one of the most recognizable composers for me currently because I don't recognize a lot of composers' names, so that's something. Um, Again, other than the like bits where I feel like it kind of lags in the pacing, where it focuses a bit too much on certain side characters, the film flows really well. It doesn't feel like it takes forever to get to the ending, for sure. Pretty decent villain. And yeah, the cons, again, I don't know if it's exactly a con, but it did feel kind of weird. The characters kind of like coming in and out of the film, like not feeling like exactly it didn't feel the most organic when they weren't in the film, so I don't know if it was a scheduling thing. I don't know if it maybe they were following COVID protocols and they couldn't have certain actors in the same room all the time, or I don't know. Um and again, you could shave like 10 or 12 minutes off of this film and make it flow a ton better. But yeah, other than that, pretty great film. I did really enjoy it. I hope other people will see it. Again, a new movie that I really liked. What a shock. But yeah, I'll try to look at more new movies um sometime soon. We'll see. Now that I have more free time for the time being since I am unemployed. And if you didn't see about that, look at the one of the most recent videos. You'll see the title, but Uh, that's my review of Violent Night. If you liked the video, comment down below, like, subscribe. If you've seen the film, let me know your thoughts, and movie review next door.